Wake up, South Africa.
It's a great honor and pleasure for us to be here with all of you. And we're going to take you to Vrindavan without ticket, without visa, no vaccine, no security check. So we hope that we'll be able to serve you today by taking you to Vrindavan. So the question is, God at home, mood of Braj. First of all, when Krishna is in Dwarka, he's Purn Bhagavan. Purn means complete, full. He's perfect. Purna Bhagavan. He has all opulences. But still, when Krishna is in Dwarka, when he's in Mathura, then he's Paripurn. Then he's Purnatam. Our acharyas have explained, then he's Purnatam. He's more perfect. Now this is inconceivable, because when something is perfect, it can't be better than, there's nothing better than perfect. Perfect is already the superlative. But Krishna is not something that we can measure with our brain. He's a chintya. He's beyond our conception. So how something can be perfect and more perfect, that is Krishna. And when he's in Braj, then he's Paripurna Tam. Paripurna Tam. He's most perfect. He's the perfectest. Now these are all inconceivable things. But this is Krishna. He's inconceivable beyond our material conception. So first we have to establish what is the home. Because some people say Krishna was born in Mathura, some people say he was born in Gokul. So we'll discuss about that first. Because we know, we have seen in the Srimad Bhagavatam that when he appeared in Mathura, then he had 4 arms and was decorated with all jewels and ornaments and golden helmet and everything. Now children ordinarily don't appear like that. The Krishna was fully dressed, beautiful pitambar dhoti and beautiful golden helmet, golden ornaments, and with 4 arms. Then Vasudeva and Devaki, they prayed the Lord, you please hide this form. Because Vasudeva and Devaki, Krishna's Purnatam in Mathura, so although they have this Vatsalya bhav toward him, it's still mixed. They understand his opulence because they saw that he was Lord Vishnu himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that was actually Vasudeva Krishna, who appeared in Mathura. Now in Gopal Champu, by Jiva Goswami, he gives some secret information. And we see in the 10th canto, in the 5th chapter, in the purport to the first verse, Prabhupada explains that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Jiva Goswami, using various pramans, prove that Krishna was the son of Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. And Prabhupada always quoted one verse, Vrindavanam Prityajam Padamekam Nagachami. That parityaj, just like we know the word tyag, to renounce or to leave. So it comes from the verb tyaj, Vrindavanam Prityajam, to leave Vrindavan, Padam Ekam Nagachami. Just like we know Padayatra, Pad means foot. Just like there with you in South Africa, we have our wonderful friend Swetadeep Prabhu, who went on Padayatra India. Now he's been so many years preaching in South Africa, Swetadeep Prabhu. So Pada means foot, Padam Ekam. That's one of the first Hindi words we learn when we come to Vrindavan. Ek Rupi, huh? Ek means one. Krishna doesn't take one step outside of Vrindavan. So how he can also appear outside of Vrindavan. So actually, Nanda Maharaj, he had made his kingdom in Gokul. And In a nearby village, there was a very wonderful girl named Yashoda, who was a daughter of Sumukha Gop. And seeing that Sumukha and Nanda Maharaj were very evenly matched, they arranged the wedding of Nanda and Yasoda together. In great happiness, Nanda and Yasoda were married. And all the Brishbasis, they were very happy under the reign of Nanda and Yasoda there in Gokul. But everybody was very happy and they had no problem. But there was one thing that was always beating on the hearts of the Brishbasis, that Nanda and Yasoda had no child. So sometimes his subjects, they would suggest to him that you perform this Devi Devata puja, you follow this vrat, you keep this vow. But Nanda Maharaj, he only had faith on his Shalagram Maharaj. He said, if Lord desires, I'll have child. Otherwise, he doesn't desire, then I won't have child. But just to keep his subjects happy, he would follow their advice and worship these Devi Devatas and perform these yagyas, perform these vrats and vows. But no child came. One day, very strange lady appeared in Braj, all dressed in saffron like a sadhvi, with a long white braid, very old. And she had two children in her hands, obviously her grandchildren. And the Brishvasis, they have too much faith on sadhus and sadhvis. So all of them came and bowed down before this lady and paid their respects. And they asked her, who are you? From where do you come? And what is your desire? So she told, I'm coming from Avantipur, Ujjain, where our Bhakti Charu Maharaj has built a beautiful white marble temple to Madan Mohan, Avantipur. And I am the mother of Sandipani Muni. We all remember Sandipani Muni. I'm the mother of Sandipani Muni, and these are my two grandchildren, Nandimukhi and Madhumangal. And I am a great Jyotish. Jyotish means who studies Jyoti, the light of the stars, means astrologer. And I have calculated that very soon Nanda and Yasoda will have a son. We thought that Nanda and Yasoda had a daughter, but Purnamasi, she said, told her name is Purnamasi, said that actually I have calculated that Nanda and Yasoda will have a son. And now we're going to hear about that. So all the Brishbasis, they were very joyful. And she said, I want to see that occasion. So you please make a nice little thatched hut on the bank of the Jamuna so I can see the birth of Nanda's son. So everyone was very happy. They made a nice little thatched hut on the side of the Jamuna, and Purnamasi and Nandimukhi and Madhumangal began to live there. One day, she came to Nanda and Yasoda when they were alone, and she told them, if you actually want to get a child, if you want to get a son, then you must very carefully worship, follow all the Ekadasis for one full year. Because the Brishbasis are all cowherd people, so they don't necessarily follow Ekadasi. If you go on Brajmandal Prikrama with Lokanath Swami Maharaj and Kartik, you'll see on Ekadasi day, they're there making their rotis. So they don't necessarily follow. And now we're going to see the power of Ekadasi. Here, Ekadasi for us is tomorrow, but I don't know what in America, I know it's today. I don't know what the day is Ekadasi for South Africa, but tomorrow is Ekadasi for us. So now you're going to hear the power of Ekadasi. So Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda, they took the words of Purnamasi upon their heads, And they began to very carefully follow all the Ekadasis for 1 full year. That means since Ekadasi is the 11th day of the moon, waning, waxing and waning, there's 2 every month. So every year there's 24 Ekadasis. This year there are 26 Ekadasis, because we just passed through that extra month a few months back in Purushottam month. So 26 Ekadasis, 26 opportunities to increase our hearing and chanting about Krishna. So finally, one day it was the Magh Purnima. Just like this is now we're running in the month of Magh. This is the Satila Ekadasi of the month of the dark half of the month of Magh. So it was actually Magh Purnima, which is coming in a couple more weeks, maybe more than 2 weeks away. Magh in our part of the world means it's very, very cold. I always got big kick when I would fly into Durban in January and see so many signs, summer fun in the airport, because here it's very cold in January and February. Now month of Magh is extended all the way into February because of that extra month. It's very cold. So Nanda Baba, he was sleeping under his nice warm quilt on his bed. And Mother Yasoda was sleeping under her nice warm quilt on her bed. Suddenly Nanda Maharaj got a dream. In that dream, he saw this beautiful blackish boy with lotus petal eyes, curly black hair, so beautiful color like a monsoon cloud, and so beautiful tiny hands and tiny feet. And as he watched, he saw that child within his heart. And as he watched, that child went across the room and established himself in the heart of Mother Yasoda. As soon as that child established himself in the heart of Mother Yasoda, then his dream broke. And he sat up on the bed, and his whole body was shaking. Tears were coming from his eyes like that. His hair was standing on end. And he looked, he saw Mother Yasoda was also sitting in her bed with a very surprised look on her face. Her whole body was also trembling. Her eyes were also shedding tears. Her hairs were also standing on end. And he looked at Mother Yasoda, and they're so excited. They want to speak to each other, but they can't speak. They're so excited. Nanda Baba said, I. And Mother Yasoda said, you. And Nanda Baba said, you. And Mother Yasoda said, I. They want to speak, but they can't. They're so excited. They can't speak, but they both understood. They had the very same dream at the very same time, simultaneously. And from that day, Mother Yasoda began to show all the signs of being with child. And all the old ladies of the village, they understood. So old ladies are always very clever. They immediately understood Mother Yasoda's with child. Now nobody can wait when this child is going to come. So after many months, it became the 8th day of the dark half of the month of Shravan. Not Shravan, Bhadra. After. And that particular day, we'll go back a little further. Just before that, after several months, Mother Yasoda, she began to stay what we call the Prasutigar, maternity house. In our old Vedic culture, we had a special room in the house or a special house in the compound where when the ladies were about ready to give babies, we didn't go to the hospital because it's a natural thing. And there was always so many midwives in the village who knew how to do everything. No need to go to the hospital. So she was staying in the Prasutigar, in the maternity house with the nurse. And one day, it was the 8th day of the dark half of the month of Bhadra, second month of rainy season. And in the evening, the nurse, she went out to do some errands. And while she was out, she felt a little tired. So she thought, let me take a snap. Something between a sleep and a nap is called a snap. But she lay down and she fell fast asleep. She was completely asleep. Meanwhile, Mother Yasoda was waiting for the nurse to return. She didn't return. So she tried to sleep. But somehow it's a restless night. She can't get any sleep. She's on one side. She's on the other side. She's on her back. She's on this side, that side, other side, back. She can't get any sleep. Finally, at midnight, she realized child is coming and she's all by herself. Nobody's there. The nurse is not there. No one is there. And this is first child she ever had, and she's not a young girl. By now, even little white hairs are coming. Only after a long time, she's getting child. Nanda Baba's beard is described salt and pepper. So many white hairs in his beard. So after a long time, she's all alone. Anyway, anyhow, she gave birth to this little baby girl from her womb. And she was so exhausted, no sleep, no childbirth. She just fell asleep and she didn't understand what happened. The Gopal Champu Jiva Goswami describes that she fell asleep. From her heart came a beautiful blackish boy. So that Brajendanandan Sham Sundar, he appeared as the son of Nanda and Yasoda. That Vasudev Krishna with forms, he appeared as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. But Nanda and Yasoda gave birth to Brajendanandan Sham Sundar. She just completely fell asleep. Meanwhile, we know in the prison house, we just discussed, Vasudeva appeared before Vasudeva and Devaki. Then he became a little child, and he instructed Vasudeva, you carry me across the Jamuna and exchange me with the girl child of Mother Yasoda. So he crossed over the Jamuna, came into the house of Nanda Baba in the midnight. He entered the Prasuti Gar, the maternity room, and it was dark, so he didn't see. When he put that child down, that Vasudeva merged into the body of Brajendanandan Shamsundar, who was already lying there on the bed. Prabhupada explains in the Krishna book that when Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears, all the expansions and all the avatars merge within his form. So that Vasudeva also merged within the form of Brajendanandan Shamsundar. Then he took the girl child and went back across the Jamuna to Mathura. So meanwhile, in the morning, the peacocks began to call. Meow, meow. The nurse woke up and she realized, whole night has passed. I left Mother Yasoda alone. She ran to the maternity room. She opened the door. When she opened the door, she saw Mother Yasoda lying there, and beside her on the bed with this beautiful blackish boy, just like a lump of blue musk, with beautiful lotus petal eyes and curly black hair and tiny little hands and feet. In fact, one of his fingers is stuck in the curl in his head and he can't get it out. He's trying to get it out. And that nurse squealed with delight. Mother Yasoda woke up. She saw this beautiful child, just like a blue lotus flower. And she just grabbed him into her arms and held him close to her breast. And he's so soft like butter, so sweet like butter. And then the nurse, she ran to the cowherdmen who were milking all the cows. And all the cowherdmen, they saw her, they stood up. and she opened her mouth to make an announcement, but she's so excited, no sound came out. And the cowherdman said, a child was born, a son. Nanda Maharaj practically fainted. He became very worried. He said, oh no, now we have to arrange a feast. We have to give charity to the Brahmins. We have to arrange to decorate the cows to give in charity. We have to, and the other brothers said, look, you don't worry about the arrangements. We'll make all the arrangements. In our old Vedic culture, all the brothers lived together with their wives. So everybody helped one another. So they said, you go see your child, we'll make all the arrangements. So Nanda Maharaj, his feet weren't even touching the ground. He ran to the maternity house. He opened the door. But Mother Rohini has got there first. She pulled a curtain across. And she said, bakshish. You give donation, you give bribe, bakshish. Just like if you go to Gokul, even now, as soon as you come in, they'll shut the curtain. You came to get darshan of Nanda Baba and Yasoda and Krishna, they'll shut the curtain. And then they'll say, oh, these guys are from South Africa. They got a lot of money. So you have to give donation, then we'll open the darshan. So this has been going on since 5,000 years. Then Nanda Baba, he took the golden locket from his neck. He gave it to Mother Rohini, and Mother Rohini pulled back that curtain. And Nanda Maharaj saw this beautiful blackish boy, just like a fresh monsoon cloud, with beautiful lotus petal eyes, curly black hair, and so exquisitely beautiful, tiny little hands and tiny little feet. Nanda Maharaj was in ecstasy. And all the Brishbazis came running. Everybody was singing and dancing and singing and dancing. And Nanda Maharaj, he began to give charity. He broke open his treasury house. He gave so much charity. He gave so much charity. He gave so much charity that those who were receiving were thinking we're not worthy to receive so much charity. Did we ever get an experience like that? We never did. Janmashtami is coming. We go to our best donors to collect. They give us a nice envelope, all sealed. Here, Swamiji, take this donation for Janmashtami. We come back to the temple. We open up the envelope. We pull out the check and we look. Seems like 1 or 2 zeros are missing. Like that, we got experience. A donor also singing, oh, I should give nice donation, but the tax people raided me last week and that balloon payment's coming up next month. He's also in trouble. But Nanda Maharaj, open-heartedly, he broke open his treasury. He gave charity that so many people were not thinking we were not worthy to receive such charity. But this is Braj. Magic things like this can happen in Braj. And all the Brishbazis were singing and dancing, and they celebrated the wonderful birth of Krishna. So Jiva Goswami explains that the actual home of Krishna is Gokul in Braj. And in Braj, nobody recognizes him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudeva and Devaki, they understood. They had just like sometimes Mother Yasoda is always thinking that if I don't feed Krishna, Prabhupada says she's always thinking, if I don't feed Krishna, then he'll go hungry. Krishna is feeding the whole universe. But Mother Yasoda is thinking that if I don't feed my little Krishna, the cowherd boys are playing with Krishna. Sometimes they play a game and one side has to climb on the side of the other side, climb on the shoulders of the side that lost and carry them around like that. So that means that if Krishna's side loses, like they did in Bandhu, when Balaram killed Pralambasura, then one cowherd boy got on Krishna's shoulders. That means that he's on the shoulders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if you're sitting on the shoulders, your feet are touching. We can't imagine such a thing, but this is Braj. Nobody understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hmm? And if they do, even for a slight second, then Krishna erases it. Just like there's a beautiful place called Brahmandagat in Gokul. And in Brahmandagat, one time, Krishna and Balaram and all the cowherd boys were playing. And Balaram's side lost. This time Balaram's side lost. Hmm. So then Balaram, he became angry. He went to Mother Yasoda and told Mother Yasoda that Lala's eating clay. So Mother Yasoda came there and said, Lala, all your friends are complaining that you're eating dirt. And Krishna said, I didn't eat in any clay. Well, why all your friends are complaining? Why Balaram and all your friends are complaining? No, we were playing today, and Balaram's side lost, so they're upset. So they're making stories to get me in trouble with you. Acha, well, if you didn't eat in any clay, then you open your mouth and show. And Krishna opened his mouth, and Mother Yasoda peered inside his mouth. She saw the sun, the moon, the stars, the entire universe, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, the objects of the senses, the controller of the senses, everything. She even saw herself within Krishna's mouth. She even saw, she's looking inside Krishna's mouth. She saw Krishna inside Krishna's mouth. That she's holding Krishna on her lap and feeding him. And she became completely bewildered. So then immediately Krishna washed it all out of Yasoda's mind. And she just accepted that Krishna is just her little child. This is the mood of Braj. This is the Braja Prem, that Sriman Mahaprabhu appeared in this world to give us this Braja Prem, where everybody loves Krishna, not because he's God, they just love Krishna because he's so wonderful. The cowherd boys, they're also playing with Krishna. They're thinking, I'll do better than you. They're doing racing games. I will beat you to the other side, to the mark. There's things like that, that sometimes they wrestle with Krishna. We can't imagine such a thing. Sometimes Krishna is sitting, there's a place called Akshayvat, not far from our temple on this side of the Jamuna. And there all the cowherd boys were sitting with Krishna. And Krishna was taking a bite of his laddu, and then he was giving it to a friend. Did they train you up like that in the Bhakti program, that you take a bite of something and you give it to your friend? We weren't trained like that at all. But Krishna is taking bite and offering it to his friend. His friend is saying, taking bite of his laddu and saying, see what nice laddu my mother made. So we can't imagine eating something and offering it to Krishna. If we found the head pujari there in Durban was offering Radha Radhanath the Mangalarti sweets, but he's sitting there in the kitchen eating the sweets before making the offering, then we'll take a stick and beat him and chase him out of the temple. But the cowherd boys, they're in so much prem. This is Yoga Maya. We're stuck here in this material world in Mahamaya. Mahamaya, she takes us away from Krishna. We have to face so many people who say there's no such thing as God. God is figment of your imagination. This is just for weak people, like that. They completely black out information of Krishna. Although it's obvious, this world is so complicated and running on so amazingly. Nobody with any intelligence could possibly deny there was God. We can't imagine such complexity in this human body. Even in just the cell is so complex. Even the atom is so. They thought it was simple, that the smallest thing is the atom. Now they have what they call their subatomic zoo. There's so many things, and neutrons and protons and quarks and who knows what. They all say these things. We're supposed to believe them. So it's obvious. But Yogamaya, when we surrender to Krishna, Yogamaya takes charge of us and brings us closer to Krishna. She blocks out. In Dwarka's somewhat blocked out. They all know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Mathura, they sort of know, but they also overwhelmed with Vatsalya Prem. But in Braj, that prem, that is actually the most opulent. Hmm? When we can relate to Krishna just out of pure love. So the cowboys are just thinking of Krishna. Then suddenly they saw that all the cows had gone away. The cows have disappeared. So then all the cowherd boys in Krishna, they jumped up. They ran after the cows, following their footprints and whether cow dung is there on the ground. And suddenly one demon started a forest fire amongst the dry grass. Uh, uh, and it was just blazing and all the cows were crying. And the cowherd boys were crying. And Krishna told them all, you shut your eyes. Now all the cowherd boys thought Krishna said to shut the eyes because he's probably going to chant some special mantra. Therefore, it's not proper for anybody to watch when he chanting that mantra. But Krishna was thinking that time in Gokul, they told Mother Yasoda ate some clay. Now if they go home and tell her that I ate fire, then what type of trouble I'll get into? So he told them all to shut their eyes. And then suddenly he told them to open their eyes and they saw they were sitting under that Akshayvat banyan tree, all sitting around Krishna and different groups and different rows all around Krishna, taking their prasad, and the cows were nearby and everything. Krishna doesn't like to show off his opulence to the Brijabasis. It's covered with the sweet Madhurya ras. So in all these ways, this was a mission of Sriman Mahaprabhu to introduce this Braja Prem, this special Prem, where Yoga Maya blocks out from our mind. She brings us closer to Krishna. She brings us much closer to Krishna. So this is a special mood of Braj. Just like another time, oh, the light went out. Anyway, another time at Ter Kadam, Krishna was sitting with all the cowherd boys. First of all, they come to Ter Kadam to play while they're herding the cows. So they were herding all the cows, and after some time, Ter Kadam's a beautiful place. Somebody was swimming in the kunj, somebody was sitting under the kunj and chanting, somebody was dancing, they were having a good time. And after playing and playing, suddenly, when you play very hard, then you get very hungry. So all the cowherd boys were very hungry. So they wanted to eat because they hung all their lunch bags under the trees at Ter Kadam. They tied them in the tree. This is Krishna's fridge. Because leaves, their business is to evaporate water, and evaporation causes cooling effect. That's why we seek the shade of the tree. It's not just the shade, but the leaves are giving off cooling effect from the water evaporating from them. So this is Krishna's fridge. So they all took their lunch bags, but they can't eat without Krishna. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's never hungry. His another name is Mitabu, who never has hunger. So then, Krishna somewhere playing in the forest, just like all the other cowboys are playing in the forest. So then they called. Actually, Ter means to call in Brijvasa language. So they gave a call. Oh, Krishna, we're all hungry. Come take your lunch. And Krishna called out, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming. So Krishna came there and all the boys sat down. Those who were most intimate in the first row, then the next, another row like this, all sitting around in circles around Krishna. And everyone saw that Krishna was, no matter whether they're front, back, or behind, or this side or that side, wherever they were sitting, they saw that Krishna was seeing them face to face. Even if they were backside, they saw Krishna's incredible potency in Braj. Everybody's seeing that they're sitting face to face with Krishna. So Braj is a very, very ecstatic place. And even the cows have special sweet relation with Krishna. Because in the evening time, just about that time we do that 4 o'clock or 4:30 offering, that is the time Krishna is coming home with the cows. So he plays his flute to call all the cows. And then you may have heard Nanda Baba, he has 9 lakhs of cows, 900,000 cows. And they're all divided into basically 4 groups: the black cows, the white cows, the reddish cows, and the yellowish cows. And then 25 subgroups. That means 4 times 2,500. Then 8 special groups. Those that are colored like chandan, those that are with small spots, those with big spots. Then there's one type of cow called Mridangamukhi, faced like a mridanga. Another cow called Singamukhi, faced like a lion from your South Africa. And so only 8 special groups of cows, so 108. And Krishna has got a jewel japamala made of 108 jewels. And he touches the nose of each of the group leaders as they come and counts 1 jewel on his japamala. Just like we're counting names of God, Krishna's counting group leaders of his cows. And then he sees, when he sees that all the 108 group leaders have come, he sees if all the cows have come. And he knows them all by name. They have names according to their color. Just like the white cows are called Davali, Safedi. Daval means white in Sanskrit. Safed is white in Hindi. Safedi, Moti. Moti means pearl. Hamsika, swan. Just like we saw so many swans in South Africa. Hansika, Motika, Chandani, moonlight, Chandrika, moonbeam. They all have, all the white cows have names like this. So then there's the blackish cows, Kali, Krishangi, Krishnangi, Shamala, and Jamuna. The Jamuna water is very deep blue color. So Shamala, so Jamuna and Kalindi are amongst the dark cows. Then there's the yellowish cows, Pili, Pitambari, Gori, Gange, because Ganga's color is very gold and Jamuna is very deep blue and Ganga is very gold in color. And so she's in the yellowish cows. Then there's the reddish cows, Aruni and Lali, Kumkumi, Sinduri, Saraswati. We don't see Saraswati River, but we learned from Shastra that previously was flowing with a reddish color. Saraswati, Mridangamukhi, Singamukhi, like this. He knows all the names. So if he sees that any cow is missing, then he climbs up that kadamba tree and he gives a call, calling that cow by her name. Now all the cows heard Krishna's flute. They know they're supposed to come home now, but some cows are more clever. They know that they don't come, Krishna will climb in the kadamba tree and call them by their very own name, by his very own lotus mouth. Can you imagine hearing Krishna call your name by his own lotus mouth? O Tribhuvana, Kumkumi, Sinduri, Hamsika, Motika, Shamala, Krishangi. Just imagine Krishna calling your name. Lalita, Vishaka, Devadeva, Rupanuga, Priyadarsani. Just imagine Krishna calling your name by his own lotus mouth. So the cow, generally their ear is down like this, but as soon as Krishna called their name, they put their ear like this to catch all that nectar. This is the sweetness of Braj. So And when that nectar overflows, it doesn't overflow from the top of the ear, it overflows from here, from the eyes. And then those cows come running with their feet frontwards, and then together, then front and back, and then together. The milk bag is going ka-choon, ka-choon, ka-choon. And cows are going. So they all run there to Terkadam to come home with Krishna. So this is the very special mood that all living in it, not just the people, even the cows have special relationship and special sweet relationship with Krishna. So this is the mood of Braj. So our Tribhunath said we'll leave 15 minutes for questions and answers. So I'll open up the floor if anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask. I can try to answer them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. So devotees, I don't see any questions in the chat as yet, but I see Sarvasati Prabhu has his hand up. You can ask your question, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Deena Bandhu Prabhu. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My question is, our experience of Raj is very limited and just basically because of a covered soul. But there's a feeling that Vrindavan has an intensity. Yet we hear that Krishna is such a sweet, charming person and he's enjoying that. But our experience, at least personally, when I go there, Vraj feels very intense, very demanding of detachment.
Yes, it's fact. I can remember the first time I went on Govardhan Prikrama. We started out, because it was hot season, so we started out early in the morning. And all of a sudden, as soon as we started going, my stomach became bad. And we had to make many pit stops along the way. And then we saw the sunrise, and Govardhan changes colors as the sun goes across the sky. In the morning, the rocks are sort of reddish and dark bluish, like that. Then they get a little lighter color. And we saw so many peacocks dancing on top of the hill, and I was seeing such a beautiful scene. The sun is rising, the peacocks are dancing, and inside my stomach, I had the most horrible sensation. So it's like it can be intensely beautiful. You'll experience in some sweetest types of scents, fragrances, and you also the open gutters. Sometimes you'll get a blast from the open gutter and get the most horrible scent. You're right. It's very intense here, no doubt.
My question would be, what is that intensity? Why is it like that intense when Krishna is so sweet? Is there some function of that?
Well, the sweetness is also intense. I don't know, but Krishna puts you through he can put you through some of the most exquisite experiences and some of the most horrible experiences. It's just to purify us, I guess. It's not part of the material world. So, of course, we're just seeing the Maya covering of the holy Dham, but it's not part of the material world. So when that Maya covering and the spiritual meet, so many things happen. But we feel that Vrindavan is not ordinary place. Krishna's reminding us, even by the material standards, it's not ordinary. It's intensely sweet, intensely bitter, intensely ecstatic, intensely horrible. Everything is very intense, just to purify our hearts.
Okay, we have a question from Jagadananda Das. Hare Krishna. Sorry I came in late, but I have a question about Ekadasi, which is today. Why is it that we should not cut our hair or break the skin on Ekadasi?
I've also often wondered that myself. That's just a tradition. I've never made an inquiry why you shouldn't cut your hair or why you shouldn't break your skin. I don't know. The main thing is to remember Krishna. So I guess to limit bodily activities. We should spend our time hearing and chanting on Ekadasi. I've never really inquired beyond that, so I can't say anything. I'm just assuming that it's to cut down our bodily activities and spend more time thinking about Krishna.
I have a question. Earlier you spoke about how a baby girl was exchanged with Krishna and was given to Vasudev. So who was this baby girl?
That was Yogamaya, because Kansa tried to kill her, like he killed so many other Devaki. That's what part of the Bhagavatam we're in right now in Vrindavan. Every day we're hearing the whole story over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Everybody tells the same story every day. So, but anyway, Kans came. The guards told that they heard the child cried, and so Kansi came there, and Devaki's crying. This is your, it's a girl. It's not a boy. It's a girl. She'll become your, she'll be your daughter-in-law. You please save her. Devaki was so desperate. She's saying, "I'll marry her to your son. She'll become your daughter-in-law. You can't kill her." The Kans was so cruel. He immediately grabbed that child and went to smash her on the stone like he'd done this 6 other children before, and she flew out of his hand and took this 8-armed form. And she said, "Kans, you fool, the child who will kill you has already been born somewhere else under the sun." And then just laughed at him and disappeared. So that was Yogamaya. And then she established herself as Mahamaya. She was Yogamaya, but Yogamaya just depends on how you see. If you see everything in this world for Krishna's service, then she's Yogamaya. When you see for your enjoyment, then it's Mahamaya. And then she split up in different forms and appeared in different temples all around the place. Especially there's one Vindhyachala-vasini. There's hills called Vindhyachal, because the mountains we call Achal. It's like when you come to Vrindavan, we're telling you all day long, chalo, chalo, chalo. The mountains don't acha, don't chalo, so they're achal. So Vindhyachala-vasini, there's a wonderful temple there that everybody, Eastern UP, that's the most famous one that disappeared from the prison house of Kams.
Oh, thank you. FIRNZAJJ, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
There we go. I wanted to find out about Vrindadevi. That is there any relation to, Yogamaya and Subhadra with Vrindadevi?
Well, in Braj, Yogamaya is Purnamasi, and Purnamasi is the guru of all the Vrishvasis. So Vrindadevi is also the disciple of Purnamasi. So therefore, every morning at Vrindakun, Purnamasi comes along with Nandi Mukhi, and she sits with Vrindadevi, and they plan out whatever the Leela will be today. It's like a couple of weeks ago, they planned out this Leela that Deena Bandhu will go to South Africa just by Zoom. So Purnamasi, she's the guru of all the Vrishvasis, and Vrindadevi is her main disciple. So Vrindadevi's, they make all the plan, then Vrindadevi, she's the one who executes the plan. So the relation is guru and disciple, like that.
Jagadananda Prabhu just asked another question. He says, did that same baby girl become Subhadra?
No, Subhadra is another daughter of Vasudeva and Devaki.
Okay.
You study the 9th canto very carefully. Somewhere you can squeeze out this information that Vasudeva had another daughter named Subhadra.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sometimes
Hare
we
Krishna.
get that Subhadra is also sometimes addressed as Yoga Maya. Why is that?
Well, Yoga, also Purnamasi is also dressed as Yoga Maya. She has many forms. There's some transcendental technology we won't understand till we get liberated.
Oachen, you had a question?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
I am just enjoying the beautiful, beautiful storytelling. Thank you, Prabhu.
Well, thank you for listening so nicely. That's when I speak. That makes me speak more enthusiastically.
Jai.
I can't wait till we can again be face to face. Yesterday we went to the Bhaktivedanta Swami International School, and for the first time we spoke in front of a room full of live people instead of just pictures on my telephone.
Okay, I think we have come to the end. There's no more questions. So I'd like to thank Deena Bandhu Prabhu for a wonderful class and for gracing us with his presence this morning.